Hello, I'm IBX Toycat, and this is Minecraft Console In Depth, which is a series where I go really in depth into a certain part of Minecraft, focusing on the console editions, of course, and I teach you everything there is to know about it. Whether it be some of the more obvious stuff you might already know, or some of the crazy in-depth stuff which might seem impractical of the time, but that can really help out in specific situations. So, if you like this series, it's been a while since I last did one, please do like it and let me know, so I'd be encouraged to do more, and if you don't, let me know in the comments down below. So, I hope you enjoy it, and let's get straight into the day-night cycle and ticks for Minecraft, because it might seem fairly simple the way time passes in Minecraft, but in reality, like, a lot of it seems opaque. Like, what makes plants grow? Like, one just grew right there. What made that happen? Why isn't it every second? Why is it a random amount of time? What determines that? And all of these sorts of questions I will answer in this video. So yeah, let's get straight into it, shall we? With how ticks work. So ticks are the way the underlying game actually determines time. So 20 times a second, or every 0.05 seconds, the game will actually have a tick, and the tick determines a lot of things in Minecraft. Every tick, a mob will change its behavior, so it might attack someone else, etc. And every tick, it randomly picks a few blocks to actually grow, like that one right there. As well as that, every 5 times a tick, redstone can actually travel for a block, so that was all one tick. As well as that, every 80 ticks, your hunger will actually determine whether your health goes up, down, or stays the same. So, if I'm starving, my health will go down. If I've got enough health and my health isn't full, it will go up. And if I'm neither, then it will just stay the same. But that's every 80 ticks or 4 seconds. So, with that said, that's the basics of ticks. We'll need that for the day-night cycle, which will start now, actually. And it takes 24,000 ticks for an entire day-night cycle. So, for when you first load into Minecraft to when the next day starts is 24,000 ticks. So, in real time, that is 20 minutes exactly. And, the first 10 minutes of that are all day. As you can see, day lasts a little bit longer than night, and most people don't know that one, actually. And basically, the next 1.5 minutes after day is dusk. So dusk is when the light level starts to go down, because the daylight level is 15. So normally at day, it's fully really bright thing. When it starts turning to dusk, which it's going to slowly start to do now, the light level slowly fades, which means stuff won't be quite as bright, etc., of course, and daylight sensor will start to fade. As well as that, during dusk, stuff will start to get a little brighter, darker, and stuff could start to spawn towards the end of it. Finally, when it turns to night, because that's what happens at the end of dusk, basically what happens is mobs can spawn. The light level is 4 everywhere, which means everywhere is an opportunity for mobs to spawn, which is why you generally don't go outside, because, anywhere within 16 blocks of you, mobs can basically spawn at nighttime if it's not torched up. So, nighttime's a very scary time of day, and, contrary to popular belief, at nighttime, plants will still grow just the same. A lot of people think that plants won't grow at night, which has a lot of, truth in the real world, because they need sun. But in Minecraft, they will grow just the same. I could sit here and wait, or you could probably just take my word for it. I'll just show you right now. And so plants can still grow at night. You can actually tell easily what time of day it is if you're curious. Like, oh, is it daytime right now? Is it dusk, or is it nighttime? You can tell by looking at the sun how long you have left and what time of day it is. So as you can see, we're like halfway through dusk right now, which tells me that it's probably about 8, maybe even 9 minutes till the sun rises tomorrow morning. And when the moon rises, which is just happening right now, when it's mid-moon, you can tell it's halfway through the night cycle, which is 7 minutes. So you can be like, okay, we've got 3.5 more minutes until sunset, sunrise, I guess. And you can do that sort of thing the day. If it's a midday, it's 5. If it's there-ish, maybe it's a 7. And that's the easiest way to tell the time. If, you're not at the surface, or, something like that, and you just want to be able to tell the time easier, there is the clock item, of course. And this gives you a rough idea of what time it is. As you can see, you might guess from this that it's like midday-ish, but in fact, or midnight-ish, but it's in fact a little bit more like, a little bit past the start of the night. And the clock item is useful, but it's very blocky. So just use it as a general guide for whether it's night or whether it's day. If it's fully blue, it's day. If it's fully black, it's fully night. And that's how the clock works. So, the interesting thing about the clock, to me at least, is that in the Nether and the End, the clock does not actually function. It spins around wildly. That's because there is no day-night cycle in the End or the Nether. Although, however, if you do go into those two dimensions, time does still pass. So if it's nighttime, you go in there, you could come out and it could be day, and the vice versa is true. So make sure your Nether portal is secured, or you might just get blown up by a creeper. So let's talk about sleeping, as I just finished doing it, because a lot of people think that sleeping actually speeds up the time between night and day. What it in fact does is it actually just changes the time. So So the difference between those two things, it might seem arbitrary, but basically it means that if you have loads of plants growing, they won't just speed up through the night, and stuff like that doesn't just happen. It just changes the time. Loads of stuff doesn't happen. So you could go to sleep with a zombie burning if it was inside or something like that, and you could wake up and it still wouldn't be dead. It doesn't just magically change time. It just it doesn't just magically speed up time. It just magically changes it. So yeah, that's how the bed works. So I think that's everything you need to know about the day-night cycle. As you can look at my clock here, it's a little confusing. It's a lovely cycle, and it's easy enough to understand. You just need to kind of get an idea that it's 10 minutes for day, 1.5 minutes for sunset and dusk, and 7 minutes for night, or 20 minutes total. So with that said, let's move into the next thing, which is a little bit more about the ticks, because I mentioned earlier that it randomly selects things to tick, and that applies to a lot of things. Like there's basically a lot of things are based on block state changes, and these are based on ticks. But how does it pick them? Like, why does it determine that this isn't growing right now, but one of these other plants might? And why is one plant not growing for hours? To basically answer that one, so the world is divided into chunks. You might know that one. It's a 16 by 16 area. It's something like this carrot farm almost a chunk size, and it goes all the way up to the sky, all the way down to the ground. Those chunks then divided into sections, which are 16 blocks, 16 blocks, 16 blocks, which is a big cube which has about 65,000 blocks in it. And off those big sections, just three blocks are chosen every single tick, and they get a block update. So in this chunk right now, you might be able to see it like a block update might randomly apply to one of these items. And basically, of those three, if it is a block state that has something that needs to change, it will change. So an example of this is if you have a tree that's about to grow, it will grow all the way. If you have ice, like over there, that needs to melt because there's a light source near it, then it will melt. And all this sort of stuff, it all happens when it's randomly chosen for a block state update. Which is why if you have loads of stuff within a big chunk, it will all grow really, really quickly. Because it's bound to pick one of these things every ticket only picks one every 20,000 blocks, but with enough items, it's bound to be one of these things. For instance, if you had every single block in a section just being a carrot, then one of them would grow at once every 20 seconds, or three of them would, sorry. And yeah, it's crazy just how fast that happens. So this randomness does make the game feel more organic, but it does also explain why sometimes, for instance, this plant here, it could take hours and hours to grow, and theoretically could never grow, because it could take, hundreds of millions of hours, or on the flip side, you could just be staring at a plant, and within less than a second, it could grow from, being a baby plant like this to going all the way to fully grown carrot or fully grown whatever. And that's just how the randomness works. It's kind of cool. So if you look at this farm right here, if I show you it for long enough, you'll basically just see random blocks just grow up and pop up. And that's the advantage of having lots of stuff. There we go. It just happened right there. That's the advantage of having lots of stuff in a small space. It's randomly picking blocks so many times a second, but it's doing that well. So yeah, once every 3 frames on the console, it picks a block to update, and that's why it happens like that. One final thing just to mention, because ticks, they happen regardless of the frame rate if it drops a little bit, but if the frame rate drops enough, so if not just a little bit, but if you get the frame rate down crazy low, like if you have 100 ender dragons on screen for instance, this affects the tick rate too. So if you want to abuse that somehow by having plants grow slower, then just drop people's frame rate, it will work quite well. I think if you play multiplayer and you have lots of chests around and stuff like that, I think it does the same, but bear in mind your crops will grow slower. If you want to avoid that, make sure you build your crops in non-laggy areas that won't, lag around and stuff. It's just advisable, it means they'll grow faster, and it's a little pro tip for you guys. So, I hope you enjoyed the video, another just random tick update there. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do like it and let me know. Let me know what you want to see in depth on next, because I thought time and, the day-night cycle is one that a lot of people vaguely understand, but I thought maybe I'd taught you something new. Let me know if I did teach something new, because I always like to hear that. That's why I love making these videos, because I love it when someone learns something new from one of my videos. And again, I think I've said everything, so like that if you liked it, share it if you really liked it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.